Election 2024 is still getting saucy, and justice was served. Daniel Penny was acquitted of negligent homicide in the choking death of Jordan Neely. The manslaughter charge was thrown out after two jurors said they could not reach a unanimous verdict. The jury seemed to side with Penny's defense team that the actions were justified, as he was trying to protect people on the subway from Neely, who was acting erratically. They also questioned if the choke was the main cause of death. For more, let's bring in GOP strategist and chairman of the Fort Bend County, Texas Republican Party, Bobby Eberle. Bobby, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Allison, and good morning to all. It's great to be here.
Well, what do you make of this verdict?
Well, let me tell you what, I come from a political background, communications, and not a legal background. So when the first case was thrown out, I was actually nervous about it. And the reason why is I was thinking, okay, if this jury can't reach a verdict on this top sentence, the more serious sentence, maybe this is an angle that, hey, we throw that out, the prosecutors threw it out, that way they can get a conviction on the lower one. I was thinking maybe, it's much easier to agree on the lower sentence. So when this verdict came out, I was so relieved. I was so relieved for Penny, of course, but just for the whole hero mentality. I mean, that's kind of the American history, right? We want people to be brave. We want people to stand up and protect other people. And he was vindicated. And that was such a relief. Although the whole idea of him being prosecuted in the first place really puts hesitation on others that want to stand up and protect others. So I think that was a travesty from the beginning, but the verdict, it was so welcome.
Yeah, it was. All right, Bobby, shifting gears real quickly. Democrats are in disarray after President-elect Trump defeated Kamala Harris for the White House. Now, Democrat donor Lindy Lee is reporting going to, quote, name names and speak to anyone who will listen about how the Harris campaign was run. The Harris team burned through, get this, more than $1 billion in about 100 days. What do you make of this?
Oh, my gosh, I'm going to be there listening as those names start to drop, because this has been such a waste of money. And you guys have seen those graphics. They've become memes and already. But the comparison to how Trump spent his money compared to how Harris did, and in particular, like on staff salaries and crazy expenditures on these paid endorsements. And so people want to know. There's going to be a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth on the Democrat side. But the donor class is one you often forget. You're talking issues and things between progressives and more moderates. But the donors who have lost all this money, they're going to demand accountability as they kind of regroup. And this is going to be epic to see where it all went. It's like in NASA where I used to work, you got your billion-dollar hammers or whatever. You're going to see some crazy stuff out there.
Bobby, since you're from Texas, I want to pick your Texas mind here. Obviously, President Trump has said that once he retakes office, one of his first priorities is going to be deportation, mass deportations. How do you see this playing out in your home state of Texas? How do you see this being realized? Because it's a gigantuan task. Let's just be honest about it.
Absolutely. And, when you look at the election results in Texas, you have 14 of 16 border counties that went for Trump. I mean, the movement toward Trump statewide, this was a state that they tried to say was going blue. It was a purple state. And, my county, we just regrouped in an amazing way. But all of those people on the border, regardless of race, but Hispanics in general, they don't want this kind of crime and human trafficking and drugs in their communities. They were all for tougher border security. And that's an issue on a demographic side that the Democrats just never grasped at all. They thought, oh, you're Hispanic, you're going to be in our camp, because the Republicans are loser racists or whatever. But I think Trump needs to really push ahead on the birthright citizenship. I think the ruling some 126 years ago by the Supreme Court was wrong, and it doesn't reflect today's reality of people just coming in with no vested interest in becoming Americans, and then they just have a child and all of a sudden they're citizens. And I bring that up because that's what the media angle is going to be. Oh, you can't separate these families, and you've got citizens and non-citizens. We need to get rid of the criminals first. All of these, and they're all criminals actually, but the drug dealers, the convicted murderers, rapists, get them out, figure out birthright citizenship. And I think the American people, they're already on board. I think you message this right. They want the security above all. That's why our federal government exists.
Bobby, we want to get your take on Lara Trump. Lara Trump has stepped down as the co-chair of the RNC, as there's speculation of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis possibly appointing her to Marco Rubio's seat if he is confirmed for Secretary of State. What do you think of this?
Well, I'm just so happy with the RNC in general and Laura Trump in particular, as far as the effort that was done. I mean, this has been a gripe from grassroots conservatives like myself, not only as a communications person, but as a party, county chairman. I mean, we were supporting against Ronna McDaniel when Harmeet Dillon was running. So the change, the turnover, to bring in Pressler, to bring in these people to really get the job done. She's earned every accolade that's imaginable there. So if DeSantis and Trump are eyeing Lara to be Senate, to fill that Marco Rubio seat, I think that's a great opportunity for her, a great pick for Florida in general. She has clearly shown that she can deliver in what was the most crucial election we've ever seen.
Bobby, we have seen so many pardons, at least potential pardons, coming out. The latest being perhaps Christopher Wray, who's expected to resign here really in the coming days. What's your thoughts on all these pardons that Biden is putting out? On the one hand, it really points out the hypocrisy of the Democrats in general. I point to Karine Jean-Pierre and others who just said over and over again, Biden is different than Trump, right? He's the honorable guy. He's never going to pardon his own son. And then, of course, he does it. But these preemptive pardons that we're looking at now to basically protect Wray or protect the whole Biden crime family, that's really what concerns me. And it would really show on his way out that this was nothing more than power and control and marketing the Biden brand ever since, he was vice president and probably in the Senate as well. So it's very concerning for me. And I hope the whole Democrat Party is called out on this. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Hey, Bobby, since you've got the U.S. Capitol there behind you, let's talk about it a little bit. Are you satisfied with this past class? And what do you anticipate from the upcoming class come January once this new class is sworn in?
Well, I see, let's start on the Senate side. I mean, what you're seeing right now, as far as the nominations, you're seeing the effort, right? The muscle, the results of this national mandate, this MAGA mandate, this America First mandate. And so I think you're going to see action. And that was, I think, going to be the stark difference between Trump 2.0 in 2025 and Trump 1.0 going into 2017, where you had even Republicans, actively working against him. They talked so much about repealing Obamacare. All we need is a president to do it. And we got one. And then they stopped. And it's protecting the border. They stopped. That's something I don't think you're going to see. You still have that establishment class of Republican, but the pressure this time, and plus a good crop of senators and congressmen that are ready to move this agenda forward, we're going to see a lot more movement than we did in 2017.
Hey, Bobby, I'm going to pivot just for a second, and I hope our viewers don't mind this. You're in Texas. Dade Phelan, Speaker of the House there in Texas, big controversy. He was actually leading the impeachment on Ken Paxton there. What are you hearing that's going on in the state of Texas right now in terms of who their Speaker of the House will be?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Brian, this is a big, big story. And in fact, my executive committee meeting is tonight. So a little breaking news. We're going to put a resolution out there tonight saying, look, if you don't respect and honor the nominee that came out of the caucus this past weekend, the GOP state reps met and they voted on a caucus representative, those that they're going to rally around. And now all of a sudden the Dade Phelan group has picked their own nominee, siding with Democrats, building a Democrat coalition. And we're going to put our state reps to the task and say, hey, you need to support the caucus nominee and we can move forward with our legislative priorities. But this is a big deal. I mean, Phelan barely won and it was enough to shake his speakership. He's done. But that doesn't mean that wing is going away by any means. In fact, they're very strong. And we're going to see a lot over these next couple of weeks. I think we're going to see the pressure coming out of parties, county parties, and the state party as well to rally around the nominee, David Cook, and get this done. Otherwise, there's going to be a full-on revolt.
There you go.
And Bobby,
before we let you go,
I'm sorry, go
ahead. Go ahead, Allison. You got it.
We were just talking about Ken Paxton, and I know his name has been tossed around, possibly going into the administration. Are you hearing anything?
Well, he was on the top of my list going in as a AG, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of place he ends up. He's been stellar, not only representing Texas, but fighting these fights where other attorneys general have joined in. So kind of leading the American fight against this weaponized DOJ. So wherever he ends up, I hope it's a good place because he definitely deserves it.
Absolutely. Terrence.
Oh, you kind of had the question I was going to ask, so we'll just leave it there. By the way, I don't know if you're a Cowboys fan or not.
To Brian's initial question, there's so much going on. I mean, Texas proved itself to be red and in a big way this time, and we deserve a state legislature that represents that. Our Senate side is very solid, strong conservatives, but again, it's in this House side where we need to be strong and not play games with the Dems or extend them, this token of bipartisanship, which is just used to give Democrats power in Texas. We earned this right to govern and to lead. We should have chairs in every single committee, not give chairmanships to Democrats. This is what the Texas Republicans deserve. We won, and hopefully they'll come through with it.
Well, Bobby, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Don't mess with Texas, right?
That's right. And all of you guys, Terrence, Brian, it's good to see you, Brian and Allison. Thanks for reaching out. I loved it.
Oh, my pleasure. Good.
All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.